in the interest of time, can we go to the poll results? And I'll just ask one member of the panel to comment on each of these. Does your organisation have a partner performance dashboard program in place? Kenneth, I might ask you to talk to this one. You know, we get a broad view of what's happening. What's your thinking here in these numbers?
Yeah, no, it's about what I would have expected, John, fairly close. I was kind of thinking roughly maybe a tiny bit less on the yes.
Yeah.
Because it is something that, you know, we certainly see taken off in the last 2 years. The leading vendors now have them in place. And you can see there, you know, 44% no, but looking, that's a great number, right? You know, in terms of, I'm delighted to hear that many people are considering it, and I'm sure a lot of the no's are considering it as well. And hopefully after this webinar, you know, more people will listen to the advice from the likes of Balaji and Jeremy, that how important it is, and again, not hard to do.
Super. Thanks, Kenneth. Brenda, next poll, please.
Okay.
Okay, for those of you offering a partner performance dashboard, how many KPIs do you measure, report? I might push this one back to you, Jeremy. We lost you at the back end of that question, but any surprise here, Jeremy, around the number of KPIs that people are measuring or not measuring?
No, but I guess what we're looking at here is an evolution of things going on. I'd be that you could kick a dashboard off with 2 or even 3, and then progressively, as people adopt them, actually build on there. And I think what you'll find over a period of time is once you get yourselves kicked off with a partner performance dashboard, then people come up with way more ideas you can actually cope with. So I think really listen to the partner community and what is it you're actually trying to achieve as you slowly bring more KPIs on. So nothing particularly surprising there, but I would think the ones with the smaller numbers will continue to build over a period of time.
Yeah, I think this slide totally reinforces the crawl, walk, run mantra that we've heard all the people, the panelists speak.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, John, if I just may just add one point, I would just advise people, you know, it is a summary. Don't go mad either. You know, what we see works well is, you know, the 6 or 8 maximum. If people go beyond that, it starts to get too busy and too complicated, so it's no longer a simple view. So, but make it dynamic. You might actually have 10 or 12 KPIs that you're measuring, but depending on the partner that logs in, it might be only 3 of them might be relevant, or 4. So only show them the ones that are relevant. And at the same time, the internal folks, you know, treat them the same way. But yeah, I would say to people, that's just a note of caution. Don't over-rotate either. You know, when you start to get to 10 and 12, you have to ask yourself the question, have I gone too far?
Well, it's too much. You just can't review the whole lot in a cube. You can't build a plan to try and affect all 10. It just becomes overwhelming at that point.
Yeah, and Balaji here, just also focus on the role of your partner, right? Because some of them could be just 1 metric that's very important to both of you, right? And some of them could be 4 metrics. So focus on the role of the partner to really determine sort of what you're measuring and how you should measure it and what good means to you. I would also agree that anything more than 5 or 6 is probably too much.
Yeah, super guidance. Next up, Brenda, please then.
Okay.
Okay, the most challenging aspect of implementing the partner performance dashboard, again, as we're reading through this, Balaji, I might like you take this one if you've got a viewpoint in this one, please.
Yeah, I'm just kind of reading through them. I guess all of that sounds about right. I guess the biggest one, 60%, is around data integration and aggregation. And yes, in any company that I've been in, that always has been a sticking point. But like we talked about earlier in the webinar, I think that is becoming easier. It's important to be able to identify a small subset, crawl first, work with your IT team, your operational team to make sure that there's at least a designated resource for you to work with on getting that data and integrating it into a portal or aggregating it into a portal that makes sense. People like Channel Mechanics and other vendors can help you do that. So I think don't be alarmed or don't be shy to go down that path. I think it's a lot better today. And then agreeing the KPIs to display, we just talked about that, 38% there. Yeah, just, start small, right? And bring in your partners to be able to help on that. But I think the other things make sense here as well.
Well, I think, let me just jump in for a second, John, on the KPIs. That is so key, that one. I've seen too often where there's a fire drill and people want a KPI on something, and you do a bunch of work to be able to create that KPI, and then it doesn't get utilized fully. And so I do think that having KPIs that last more than 5 minutes is really important. There's nothing more annoying than creating stuff that people then subsequently don't use. It drives me nuts.
Yep, no, totally agree. Brenda, I think we'll leave the next two polls and maybe open it up. I know there were some questions that come in, Brenda, so let's use a few minutes, if that's okay, just to field questions, which I think you have, Brenda, please.
Yeah, perfect. So first one here is from Ad, and Ad asks, what recommendations do you have for companies that don't have full visibility of the partner's funnel on Salesforce?
Brenda, can you just repeat that last part? Say that again?
Yeah, so what recommendations do you have for companies that don't have full visibility of the partner's funnel on Salesforce?
Oh, so they don't have visibility. I mean, I guess the question would be then, well, let me just answer that question, at least from my standpoint. This is Balaji here, is that it's very important. I guess you bring up another operational item that needs to take place, is tracking that partner, right? And so we've worked with a company like Channel Mechanics, for example, to make sure that any opportunity that is registered has the right partner attached to it, right? And so that level of hierarchy to be able to understand your partners, assign account IDs to them, and then make sure that they're attached properly to the opportunities, then gives you that visibility to the funnel that you should have in there. But that's probably the first step, is to make sure that your Salesforce CRM system, etc., which I know has that ability, and you put that in place, which isn't that hard, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, if I might, yeah, just really briefly, Brenda, just on that question. Yeah, so that's a classic. It's a great question, because that is almost like, metric number one. And say in our world, in Channel Mechanics world, like with the vendors, first thing will be pull that data out of Salesforce and put it in the partner view of the world. So that literally is one of your tiles on your KPI partner performance dashboard. So now the partner can see all of the deals they registered, all of the associated opportunities, the status and value of those opportunities. And to think about it, the value of doing that, quite a simple thing to do, is now that partner can truly self-serve. You're not wasting account manager's time telling the partner the status, because now they can just see it for themselves 24/7.
Yeah, whoever asked that question, it's a brilliant question, actually. It really is. And I very often find the partners don't put the information in for, well, it's either they can't be bothered, or they don't see value in the program, or they don't trust the vendor. There's that old channel joke of, if you're in the channel, what's the fastest way to drive down your margin? Bring the vendor in. Right? It's an old joke. So I think it really comes down to value in the program, and if the partners can see the value in the program relative to the KPIs, and there's some other elements in the program that assist them, then they'll bring it in. But it is so critical to get that in there. Otherwise, you just have got no idea what's going to be happening X quarters out, or even X weeks out.
Okay, thanks,
Super.
guys. So next question. What is the average partner program's staffing level to support partner performance dashboards? And that is from Brian. So the average partner program staffing level to support partner performance dashboards.
Yeah, I'll go first and let the guys chime in as well, please. Yeah, it completely depends on the size of the vendor and the size of their channel, of course. But one of the things partner performance dashboards does is totally streamlines the amount of time. Like one very large vendor, and I won't name their name, that we worked with, he actually built the business case out to implement the partner performance dashboard based on the cost or the hours saved for internal account managers by having a partner performance dashboard. And he literally came to something in the region of 30,000 hours a year wasted on operational type going to 5 different systems to get what I want. So it completely, in terms of efficiency and resources, it greatly helps both your channel team and your partners. Guys, you go ahead.
I think the other thing I'll just add to that quickly is that don't feel that you need to have a dedicated partner ops person or IT person to this. In all my companies, we've had, 30% of a partner ops person, 20% of an IT person, 10% of someone else person coming together to be able to do that. And the design work in the beginning is probably more important, but after that, once you put it in place, it's not bad. So you don't need to have a dedicated resource, but a designated resource of percentage of their time is useful.
Thanks, Balaji. I know we're sorry, we're almost out of time, so I'm just going to ask one more question, and this one is from Kate. This is a rather good one. So Kate asks, I'm looking for some tips on how to help justify funding of a partner performance dashboard project for my partners.
Ease, yeah, and that's it's a little more complicated because then a lot of other things have justified also. But ease of doing business, right? Loyalty, that's very. You can gather a lot of that information online as well. I'm sure Kenneth and team have a lot of information on that as well. But ease of doing business and loyalty, oh my gosh, that's one of the most important things that I use to be able to justify anything.
Well, you can also take your channel resources, ask them a quick poll. How much of your time do you spend chasing around data and trying to create PowerPoints and spreadsheets? Yeah. You probably sell it just on that basis.
Yeah, at least 50% of a salesperson's time or a channel sales manager's time is spent on non-partner engagement on administrative things like this. So that's easy to find that information too. So all of those justify the need for this.
And the other one that I previously used as well is when you bring a new salesperson, channel person on board, the onboarding time, I used to calculate that onboarding time was reduced by 2/3 before they became effective.
Okay, thanks, Jeremy. Yeah, so apologies to anyone whose questions we haven't gotten around to, but we do promise to follow up afterwards in relation to it. So I'll just pass it back to you there, John.
Great, thanks Brenda again for that insight. And we will be sharing the different poll findings with analysis, as Brenda said, over the coming days with people that attended and registered. But just want to wish a special thanks again to Jeremy, to Balaji and to Kenneth for a really insightful session, great questions, real truth telling for the channel as well. And again, we do encourage you, if you have other queries or want to learn more, feel free to reach out to us. We're on LinkedIn, you'll find us there. Thanks again everybody for joining. Hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you guys, take care.
Thanks. Cheers, bye-bye.